I thought I had seen everything in that courtroom, the shouting, the lies, the broken people, but nothing prepared me for a 6-year-old child standing alone, looking up at a judge and whispering, "Please, save my mommy." And what happened next left everyone in tears. If stories like this matter to you, if you believe justice should have a heart, take a second right now and subscribe, because what you're about to hear isn't just a case. It's a moment that reminds us why humanity still matters. Her name was Lily Grace Martinez, 6 years old, tiny, barely 4 feet tall. She wore a faded yellow dress with a small tear near the hem, and pink sneakers that had clearly seen better days. Her hair was tied in 2 uneven ponytails, one ribbon missing. She held a small stuffed rabbit, gray and worn thin from years of love, and she never let go of it. Not once. Her mother, Elena Martinez, was 29 years old, a single mom working 2 jobs, day shift at a diner, night cleaning offices downtown. She drove an old blue pickup truck that rattled when it started. She had tired eyes, but she always smiled at Lily, always. The man on the other side of this case could not have been more different. Richard H. Langford, 52 years old, CEO of Langford Development Group. He wore a $12,000 tailored Navy suit and a Rolex Submariner that gleamed under courtroom lights. He arrived in a black Porsche Panamera with tinted windows. He walked like the world owed him something, and he believed it did. On October 17th at exactly 10:17 a.m., everything changed. It was a cold morning in Providence, Rhode Island. Elena was driving Lily to school. They were running 5 minutes late. At the intersection of Maple Street and 3rd Avenue, the light turned green. Elena pressed the gas gently. She always drove carefully, always. That's when Richard Langford came speeding through the red light. Witnesses later said he was going at least 55 miles per hour, in a 25 zone. The crash was loud, metal on metal, glass shattering. Lily screamed. Elena didn't. When the police arrived, Langford stepped out of his car, barely shaken. He looked at the wrecked pickup and shook his head. "People like her shouldn't even be on the road," he said. "She probably doesn't even have proper insurance." A paramedic later testified he smelled alcohol. Another said Langford kept checking his watch, impatient, annoyed, like he had somewhere better to be. Meanwhile, Elena was unconscious. Her arm was broken, 2 ribs fractured, and internal bleeding had begun. Lily sat on the curb, clutching her rabbit, crying quietly. No one knew what to say to her. By the time Elena reached the hospital, she was in critical condition. Doctors said the next 24 hours would decide everything. The police investigation moved quickly. Traffic cameras confirmed the red light violation. Blood tests showed a blood alcohol level of 0.09, just over the legal limit. But what made this case different was what happened 3 days later. Lily walked into the courthouse holding her aunt's hand. She wasn't supposed to be there, but she insisted. "I need to talk to the judge," she said. "I need him to help my mommy." Around this time, if you believe stories like this deserve to be told, not buried, make sure you subscribe. This channel is about bringing real human moments to light, because sometimes the truth changes people. Judge Frank Caprio was presiding that morning, known for his compassion, known for listening. He noticed Lily immediately, a small figure in a room full of adults. "Who is this young lady?" he asked gently. Lily stepped forward. Her voice shook. "My name is Lily," she said. "My mommy is in the hospital." The courtroom fell silent. Judge Caprio leaned forward. "What happened to your mommy?" Lily swallowed hard. "That man hurt her," she said, pointing at Langford. Langford shifted in his seat, annoyed. "This is inappropriate," his lawyer said quickly. "She shouldn't be here." But Judge Caprio raised his hand. "Let her speak." Lily looked up at him, tears in her eyes. "Please, save my mommy," she said. No one moved. No one spoke. Even the court reporter paused. The legal process had already begun before that moment. The state had charged Langford with reckless driving, DUI, and causing serious bodily injury. But his legal team was aggressive. They argued technicalities. They questioned the timing of the blood test. They tried to shift blame. They even suggested Elena entered the intersection too quickly. It was clear what they were doing, trying to minimize, trying to escape. But then came the evidence. Security footage showed Langford's car blasting through the red light. No hesitation, no braking. A witness, Michael Turner, said, "He didn't even look, he just went straight through like rules didn't apply to him." Another witness said, "He was holding his phone, I saw it, he didn't care." The prosecution built a strong case, but it wasn't just about facts anymore, it was about that little girl. If you're watching this and you believe that truth should win over power, don't just sit back, hit subscribe, stand for something, because cases like this remind us what's at stake. When Langford entered the courtroom for the main hearing on November 3rd at 9:02 a.m., he looked exactly the same. Perfect suit, polished shoes, no sign of regret. He sat upright, arms crossed, his expression cold. Elena entered later, slowly, her arm in a sling, walking with visible pain, but her head was high, her dignity intact. Lily sat beside her, holding her hand tightly. The contrast was impossible to ignore. The prosecution began presenting evidence, photos of the crash, medical reports. Dr. Angela Reeves testified she was minutes away from losing her life. The injuries were severe. Then came Lily's statement, read aloud by her aunt. "My mommy always makes me pancakes," it said. "She sings when she cooks. I want her to come home." People in the courtroom wiped their eyes. Langford didn't react. Then he took the stand. His lawyer guided him carefully, but his words told a different story. "I didn't see the light," he said. "It happens. People make mistakes." The prosecutor asked, "Were you aware you had been drinking?" Langford sighed. "I had one drink, maybe two. That's not illegal." Then he added something that froze the room. "Frankly, if her car wasn't so cheap and slow, maybe this wouldn't have happened." Gasps filled the courtroom. Elena closed her eyes. Lily squeezed her hand tighter. "Around this moment, I need you to do something simple. Take action. Subscribe. Because stories like this need people who refuse to look away." As I sat there watching, I felt something personal, because years ago my own sister was hit by a reckless driver. She survived, barely. And I remember sitting in a hospital room, hearing machines beep, praying she would open her eyes. I remember the anger, the helplessness. So when I saw Lily, I saw a reflection of that moment. And I knew this case mattered more than just law. It was about accountability, about humanity. The verdict day arrived on November 21st at 11:45 a.m. The courtroom was packed. Judge Caprio reviewed the evidence slowly, deliberately. You could hear every breath in that room. Then he looked up. "Mr. Langford," he said, "I find you guilty on all charges." Silence. Then a wave of emotion. Elena covered her mouth. Lily hugged her. Langford sat still, stone-faced. "After hearing everything, I want to ask you something. What kind of world do we want to live in? One where power wins, or one where truth does? If you have an answer, make it real. Subscribe and be part of it." Then came sentencing, and what Judge Caprio said next changed everything. "I am ordering you to pay $150,000 in restitution to Ms. Martinez for her medical expenses and recovery. This wasn't just money. It was acknowledgement, a recognition of the damage done. It ensured Elena could heal without fear of financial ruin. I am also ordering you to perform 1,000 hours of community service at a rehabilitation center for accident victims. You will not just hear about pain. You will see it. You will understand the consequences of your actions firsthand. And there is one more thing." The courtroom leaned forward. "I am ordering you to publicly apologize in writing and fund a citywide road safety program for the next 5 years, because your actions affected more than one life, and now you will work to protect others." Then Judge Caprio leaned in, his voice firm. "You had every advantage in life," he said. "Wealth, power, opportunity. And you used none of it to protect others." He pointed toward Elena. "She had very little, but she gave everything to her child." Then he looked at Langford again. This sentence is not about punishment alone. It is about responsibility, about learning, about becoming better than you were when you walked into this room. Then he added quietly, and about making sure that little girl never has to stand here again asking someone to save her mother. The courtroom broke, tears everywhere. If this moment moved you even a little, stop and reflect. How often do we ignore what matters most? And if you believe in justice with compassion, subscribe, be part of this conversation. After the sentencing, Langford finally reacted. His shoulders dropped. For the first time, he looked shaken. Elena cried softly. Lily hugged her tightly. As people left, something changed in the air. It felt lighter, like justice had done its job. Langford did appeal the decision. His legal team argued the sentence was excessive. They tried to reduce the penalties. But in February, the higher court upheld every part of the ruling, every single one. The system stood firm. At first, Langford resisted. He treated community service like a chore, showed up late, kept his distance. But then something happened. One day, he met a young man named Daniel, paralyzed from a crash caused by a drunk driver. Daniel said, "I was supposed to play college football." Now he sat in a wheelchair. Langford didn't speak. For once. He listened. That was the turning point. Over time, he changed. He completed every hour, then kept going. He funded additional programs, spoke at schools, warned others about reckless driving. Elena recovered slowly, months of therapy, pain that didn't fully go away, but she went back to work. And every morning she still made pancakes. Lily started school again, still carried her rabbit. But now she smiled more, and if you want to see how stories like this continue, stay with us. Subscribe. Because these aren't just endings, they're beginnings. I think about this case often, about that moment when a child asked for help and someone listened. It taught me something simple. Justice isn't just rules, it's people. It's about seeing beyond the surface, about understanding what's truly at stake. In a world that often feels cold, moments like this remind us that compassion still exists. To anyone watching this who feels small, unheard, or powerless, I want you to know something. You matter. Your voice matters. Your pain matters. Even when it feels like no one is listening, there are people who will. And to anyone watching this who has power, wealth, or influence, I am asking you to use it wisely, because your actions carry weight, real consequences, real impact. Remember that privilege is not protection, it is responsibility. Thank you for watching this entire story. Thank you for caring about Lily, about Elena, about what justice truly means. Subscribe to this channel and join our family. We are building a community that believes in compassion, in accountability, in humanity. We don't just watch stories, we stand with them. We are building a place where voices like Lily's are heard, where truth is not ignored, where justice has a heart. Subscribe now and be part of something that matters. Join us, stand with us, fight with us for justice, for compassion, for humanity. Subscribe, and let's build the world we want to live in together, starting now.